Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
the Guru, back again for UFC 314 from sunny Miami, Florida. We've got Alexander Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopes for your vacant Featherweight Championship belt. And in your co-main event, we have an absolutely electric match between Michael Iron Chandler taking on Paddy the Batty Pimblett. It's going to be absolutely incredible to break this card down. Could really set itself up to be card of the year. But before we could get into that, we have a very, very special guest, friend of the show, been here many, many times. I mean, if you don't know Bets and Picks MMA, you are doing yourself a disservice. This guy is profitable over 6 years running. I mean, he's just been killing it. Pro sports gambler, specializes in MMA. Our friend, Mr. Andrew Gombas. How are you?
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. Happy to be here as always.
What do you think about these fights, man? What are you looking forward to? Are you going? I know you are a Florida resident.
No, I'm not going, but I am looking forward to the fights. You know, obviously, fun main event between Volkanovski and Lopes. Everyone's excited about Bryce Mitchell and Gene Silva. A lot of other, really the whole main card, if you look at it from like a betting perspective, it's all competitively lined. So I'm expecting a lot of competitive fights. You know, obviously, there's no way Chandler and Pimblett's boring. Interesting crossover getting Pitbull into the UFC against Yair. Have Virna Jandiroba and Xiaonan potentially a number one contenders fight. So yeah, there's a lot to like here.
yes, there is. I can't wait to get into it. But if you guys haven't done the right thing already, please throw a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Got to say shout out to the best chat in the game. Yes, Lou Betcha. We bring it straight to you. This is as good as it gets. Yeah, never late, always on time, always on point. Daz knows how it is.
I don't know about always on time. I will not subscribe to that.
I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always on time. E. Mendoza, what's going on? The hedgehog himself. Dixon, yes, big fan of Andrew's last name. We all love shrimp cocktail then. That's fantastic. You got to love it. And yeah, Andrew does associate with the GOAT. Oh, wait a second. We need our mediator there. Hang tight. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so Andrew is the GOAT. So with Magic. So yeah, make sure you guys are checking them out tomorrow night. They'll bring the fire. But we're going to start right from the top. It's what the people came for. Guru, I'm so excited for this. We got Alexander the Great Volkanovski. Who's that? Who's that right up over there? Who is that guy? Oh, that's Alexander Volkanovski. Shout out to the time me and Guru stood in New York City waiting to meet the man himself. And we came away with some really cool stuff. And then Diego Lopes, the dream. Plus 120. I just can't wait for this matchup. Volkanovski is probably one of my favorite fighters, since I started following MMA and UFC in general. And I'm definitely very biased. I bet him all the way from the Aldo fights, the first Max fight, his dog, taking him as the favorite there on out. But, coming up to the Islam and the Topuria fights, I did end up on the other side. And, man, here we are again, right? So, Guru, what are you seeing in this one? I'm curious to get your thoughts.
I mean, this fight is absolutely incredible. And if you would have thought, even dreamed about making a matchup like this a couple months ago, let alone a year ago, this time last year, you would have been laughed out of the building. It would have been completely unfathomable. This guy shows up on short notice against Movsar Evloev, May 6, 2023, a fight that we see live and in person. And he just has been a fan favorite ever since, rattles off 5 straight wins, beats top guys in Brian Ortega and Dan Ige, is beating them under crazy circumstances with the pulling out and the catch weights and all that crazy stuff. And then you look at a guy in Alexander Volkanovski, and again, I remember the Yair fight July of 2023 very well because that was like, my birthday card pay-per-view. And I just remember that. I mean, he looked as good as could be. He cost me a ticket. I mean, I guess Yair did. I bet round 4 or 5 decision Volkanovski. Yair quits right there at the end of round 3. Like, I mean, Volkanovski, he could not have looked any better, cementing himself pound for pound, cementing himself as the best featherweight of all time. And here we are. He's been knocked out twice. Loses the tough decision to Islam the first time, but takes the Islam fight on short notice, gets knocked out, is probably not the same. Ilia Topuria, generational talent, fast hands, knocks him out. Brutal. We took him. Took Ilia as a dog. Smashed it. I just feel like this is a really tough matchup for Volkanovski in that it's similar in that Diego Lopes is a sniper, and he's got really fast hands, and he's huge. So, I mean, I'm not against the narrative that, like, if you like Volkanovski, that you want overs. I mean, I get it. He does gas versus Brian Ortega. However, he, thinks he finishes him in round 1, nearly does, and goes absolutely bananas. Dan Ige fight, like I said, short notice, changing of opponents, catch weight, up weight, the emotional toll that must take on somebody. I give him a little bit of a pass. So I'm going with Diego Lopes here. The line has come now all the way back to basically nearly where we got it. We got plus 125. I still haven't seen it there. But I feel okay with it. I really do. Because, I mean, I don't know. What, TB, do you think that we should feel okay with it? Or if we really like Diego here, should we just be on a round 1, 2, 3 type of prop? You need it early, right?
Well, I'd say what could be interesting, I mean, I feel like we've seen his gas tank at least improve through performances. I mean, he finishes round 3 with the most strikes of the fight, and in each round, by the way. And he against Ortega, and Lopes is also
Ortega's ass.
He almost finishes him with about 30 seconds left in the fight. And it's not like any submission attempt was ever going to be close, but that's when the cut gets really bad. That's when, Ortega kind of starts stepping back on the back foot again, but there's only 20 seconds left and there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
But he does the same thing in the first round. And that's my thing with Volkanovski. I mean, we've seen him dropped even in the Max Holloway fight. We've seen him now knocked out 2 times in a row, but that's not the only times we've seen him hurt and vulnerable. I do think he's coming into this fight in seemingly great shape. Yeah. He seems focused. I don't think it's any detriment to Alexander Volkanovski, and that's why, I mean, rightly so. I'm kind of scared, but this feels like one of those moments where, I mean, Lopes, when you watch the way that he now is able to use, I mean, he really changed his body composition from early in his career. You can take a gander for whatever reasons you think that may be, but I really do think he does have a different explosion in power. And you see it in the way that he uses his hips to frame off Sabatini and stop takedowns in that matchup. And in this fight here, I don't think Volkanovski is going to be able to secure early takedowns. And from distance, typically Volkanovski has the longer reach, even though he's the shorter guy. He's giving up an inch of reach here. So that is actually significant in that he's not necessarily going to be safe whenever he's in striking range. And Diego Lopes also throws crushing calf kicks, the likes of which, made Ortega stumble a little bit as the fight was going on. So I think that there is multiple ways for Diego to even win a decision in this fight. He could hurt him in multiple rounds. And Volkanovski could just be in good enough shape where he survives the battle. But I'll take the plus money here. I'm a little worried about unit sizing, but I can play it from anywhere 3 to 5. I have a clean cash out opportunity, but I am going to take the dog shot and I'll stick in with it. And if Volkanovski does win, don't get me wrong, I'm going to be thrilled. So, and take that from a fan perspective. So, but I would be so sad I lose my bet. But I really do think Diego, the way he throws in combo in the pocket now, I think he is going to be able to hurt him. So, Andrew, let's pass this off to you. What do you got in this matchup here?
Yeah, so before I get into it stylistically, I think it's been pretty established by now that my favorite part of the show is the nicknames. But I've actually prepared a few of my own.
Yes.
Let's go.
Thank goodness, because they're definitely going to be better than TB's, but I won't be afraid to shit on them if they're bad. So
they're almost like purposely kind of cringe, so just keep that like a grain of salt.
Yes.
I went with Go Diego, go Lopes versus Alexander the Handler Volkanovski.
Okay, so Alexander the Handler is just kind of outrageous. That's pretty good because I don't even know what that means, but that's good. Go Diego, go Diego goes a little obvious.
I did do that one previously.
Like you'll notice a lot of them rhyme. Like that's what I was going for mostly. I was going for a lot of rhyming stuff.
I like it.
As far as the fight goes, I strongly favor Volkanovski here. I don't think him losing to Topuria and Makhachev means that he's going to lose to Diego Lopes. Like on minutes, I don't even really see how Lopes can be competitive. Like obviously he's a big hitter, he's a finisher. I think 5 rounds massively favors Volkanovski. I just think he's literally better at every aspect of MMA. Obviously, there's some concerns about Volk's durability at this point. But he did take a year plus off after the Topuria knockout. And we went from him being minus 130 against Topuria, who in my opinion is a pound for pound top 3 or 5 fighter in the sport, to basically the same price against Diego Lopes, who I'm not even convinced is top 3 or 5 of the weight class. Obviously, they're different. They're on different career trajectories, but this is Volk's I don't know, maybe you could say Yair. Other than Yair, this is his most favorable stylistic matchup in so long. So yeah, I think Volk's gonna get it done. I think he probably finishes Lopes in the mid to late rounds. I feel like he probably takes over after the 7.5 minute mark, maybe the second round.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're definitely right in the fact that in overall mixed martial arts, Alexander Volkanovski should be the better fighter. And you're right. I am concerned about his durability at this stage. And I also am concerned about maybe where his head's at, 1 foot out the door. I hear retirement rumblings. I mean, I don't know how much that necessarily means. I don't know how much left Volkanovski has to do to prove in the sport. Obviously, I guess, hey, winning the title back could certainly mean a lot here. But, I mean, his legacy is already pretty much cemented, right?
I would say so.
Yeah, you make good points.
Win or lose, I mean, Volk goes down as one of the all-time greats, but he does sound like he's fully motivated, and it does look like he's in great shape coming in. But weight cuts have been tough for him in general, and that's probably one of the factors that leads. I mean, obviously the Islam head kick is one thing, but going back down to 145 after, and that's where Topuria is just generational talent, like Andrew says. So I agree, but I think we nailed this fight. We've given a great breakdown with. I
actually said generational talent. I said generational talent, and Andrew said top 3 pound for pound.
My bad. It's poor attribution, but everyone's on the same thought, right? We all love
one more thing to point out. I bet Topuria against Volkanovski, and I fully acknowledge that fight was definitely competitive up until the knockout. I still felt like Topuria eventually was going to find him, but it wasn't like Volk. We were all sitting there after that fight, oh my God, Volk looked like shit. He showed up washed, and Topuria beat the shit out of him. No, it was more
it was very close, and then he tagged him. He tagged him in an exchange. He tracked him down and tagged him.
Yeah, I walked away from that fight thinking those were for sure the 2 best 145ers in the world.
Yeah. And probably if we don't have 2 consecutive knockouts, we see Volk at minus 300 or 400, and he's still the champ. So, but this is where we are, and we'll see how this plays out Saturday night. I'm very excited. This fight's going to be incredible.
I kind of just have interest then in an under, maybe. An under is just kind of interesting from those perspectives as well.
I don't mind doesn't go minus 150 because I think both guys are going to have opportunities. I feel like Volk, he doesn't have a ton of knockouts in his career, but if you look at it, he had 3 fights with Max Holloway, who's the most durable fighter in the history of the sport. And outside of that, he finished Yair and he finished Korean Zombie. I feel like he could finish Lopes too. Especially I really don't think these mid-late rounds are going to go well for Lopes if it gets there.
That's the huge caveat.
Round 3, round 4, round 5 knockout props probably go crazy.
Yeah.
In the same way that Diego round 1, round 2 props go crazy. If you're looking to just play props on this fight, definitely interesting.
Wow, this fight's gonna be fucking awesome.
Talk about awesome fights. I mean, oh man, we get a 5-round banger of a co-main event. Iron Mike Chandler versus.
Wait, is that true?
Yes, it is 5 rounds.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. It's a five-round co-main event. Iron Mike Chandler versus Paddy the Body Pimblett. Plus 124 for Iron Mike, minus 148 for Paddy the Batty. This fight has just been bouncing right around here all week long. Over 1.5 at minus 210, under 1.5 at plus 160. They tend to think that this fight doesn't go the distance in the long run, but it could be an absolute banger to start. Now, Iron Mike, the considerations are that from distance, one, he's fought a way higher level of competition, but at the same time, he has terrible defense. He really does absolutely nothing to avoid head strikes, aside from maybe sometimes being out of range of them. When he's in the pocket, there's absolutely zero regard for what's happening. And then Paddy, while the optics can look bad, I think ever since he started braiding his hair a little bit, we see a little less of the flip back. And also, he's leveled up his game a little bit in the striking. Not a lot, but just enough. He lands pretty punishing low kicks. He can strike. Like, he tries to strike a range. It's not the best, but listen, there's a reason why Bobby Green goes for an opportunistic takedown attempt. And you could call it throwing the fight
because he's stupid.
Yeah, triangle arm bars are
what?
also. Listen, he had landed a few nice shots.
It was instinct. It was there. He took it, but you're not supposed to take the bait. That's bad.
Right, but Paddy is landing from distance in that fight, is my ultimate point. And I do think that there is a chance where if Mike blows his load, Paddy could look like the better striker as this fight works its way to round 5. Iron Mike, I do think it is going to be very difficult to wrestle and grapple him, especially early. But Paddy is, a bit of a tricky grappler in his own right. So I could see where he might get some back takes and be able to secure a round without. I think it's going to be extremely difficult to sub Mike unless he's absolutely gassed or hurt. So, yeah, I tend to lean that this fight does go into more of the later rounds. They both have absolutely fantastic pharmacists. So neither of these guys have good defense, but they still keep fighting to crazy fights and going over. And, Paddy tape is awful and flying triangle incoming. The thing that I could see in the main event and the co-main event is that both of these guys offer a triangle armbar where if you let your opponent get to this position, you're forced to make decisions, and it's not the same as defending just a triangle choke, just a guillotine choke like Brian Ortega, had attempted previously. When you have to think about, okay, well, either my arm's going to snap or I'm going to get tapped out because I've got a triangle locked in on my neck. That's where Paddy could just make this thing over in an instant, because Chandler hasn't really fought this type of grappler where Oliveira, he can be tricky, but he hasn't pulled off those types of submissions as of more recent at 155. He was more explosive like that at 145 from a grappling perspective. I think Paddy could be dangerous to get the sub round 3, 4, 5 as Chandler slows down. That would basically be why I'd be on the Paddy side, and minus 148. I'm really tempted. I'm really tempted to play the money line, but something tells me I should just probably play it from a prop perspective. So, Guru, what do you think here?
I mean, I think this fight is absolutely fucking bananas. Michael Chandler has shown himself to be, one of the most electric guys in the sport. Fight win bonus after fight win bonus after fight win bonus, and he's not even winning these fights, guys. So he's an extremely exciting guy. And you look at a guy in Paddy the Batty, and right, his tape is terrible, his chin's out there. His voice is annoying. His haircut's ridiculous, but he finds ways when the lights are brightest. He finds a way to get the job done. The Bobby King Green fight is impressive to me. The way that he snatches up the triangle choke. The way that he's talking all the shit to Jordan Levitt and finds the finish. I don't know. I'm not sure that he can pull off one of those moments here. And the problem is Michael Chandler is just so terrible with his game planning, but he's also lost to literally the best guys in the world in Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, and Justin Gaethje. I'm just not super sold. The Jared Gordon fight lives rent-free in my mind, even though that fight was like 3 years ago already. He's made improvements too. I lean Paddy the Batty, but I kind of like the overs here. Call me crazy, but if I could get like a plus money on fight to start round 4, just to get to championship rounds in general, and I don't even have to pick a side, I think that's kind of where I'm interested. Let me pull up that line. But Andrew, what do you think? Do you like my angle, or you fixing on a side, or do you like this fight from a gambling perspective?
Yeah, it's an exciting fight. In my opinion, it's not an easy fight to, when I envision it in my head, it's kind of hard to like. I feel like there's so many different outcomes possible here. On one side you have Paddy no quit Pimblett, who's undefeated, kind of wink wink in the UFC. You have Michael Muscles Chandler, who has been through the ringer, but he's taken his licks along the way. And just in general, I feel like Chandler's one of those guys that has such a high floor, and because of his explosiveness, because of his wrestling, but also has such a low ceiling because of he throws himself into the fire. He has durability issues. His cardio is not the best, so I feel like no matter who Chandler's fighting, he can't be too big of a favorite or too big of an underdog. Here, obviously, a closely lined fight. The thing that worries me on the Paddy side the most, I don't like his. A, obviously, he's never fought someone as good as Chandler, and B,
True.
His striking defense moving backwards is very suspect. He has shown to have a great chin so far. Like, he's eaten some big shots, but the fact that we've had to see him eat big shots already, like facing guys who aren't even UFC caliber, is definitely a concern. You don't want to rely on your chin against Michael Chandler either. So, in my opinion, it's a fight that could go a lot of different ways because there's so many angles to it. Like, what if Chandler comes out wrestling? Like, I don't think Paddy has a particularly good bottom game. Like, that's like one angle, like 5 rounds. How does that change things? So it's a high volatility fight. Like, gun to my head, I would take Chandler, but I think it truly is one that could go a lot of different directions.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And as I was kind of like teed up here to start talking about my breakdown, I kind of felt the same way. I was like, this fight could go a lot of different ways. Not for nothing, I can get fight to just start round 3 at -120. That is kind of interesting for me. But I am going to be clenching my butt cheeks for 10 minutes. And I don't even know that I want to do that at all. It seems very not fun.
Yeah, that could be a tough one. Paddy's liable. I like this, the English DDP. That's pretty good. The Liverpudlian. All right. We're moving on. We've got La Pantera, Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull, and that's his actual last name as his nickname. I don't know. I couldn't nail one down. Andrew, what did you have for a nickname in this fight?
Or did you have any nicknames in the last one?
Yeah, I slipped it in. You guys didn't notice. I said,
oh my God,
Paddy no quit Pimblett.
Yes.
I said Michael Muscles Chandler.
Yeah, yes. You did sneak it in there.
Yeah,
because they were all very descriptive. I didn't
coy.
really pick it up.
Very coy.
So this one, I'm. Oh no, not this one. Sorry, this is the Yair fight.
Yeah,
I went with.
Is that the next fight?
Yeah, they moved it instead of.
It was supposed to be Bryce and Gene. They switched
they're below them. They're the next fight.
Wow.
Yeah, but I went with Y-Rod, Yair Rodriguez, and then I
Y-Rod?
Y-Rod, and then I went with Patricio Unleash the Pitbull.
Oh, nice. I was thinking about who let the dogs out.
Yeah.
No. You should have just went with You should have just went with Mr. International for Pitbull.
Yeah, that's pretty
Mr.
good.
Worldwide.
Mr. 305.
Mr. 305, Mr. World. In the 305, you had your opportunity.
Damn. All right. Well, we've workshopped it. We're gonna nail this one next time. Listen, please, Snippy. All right. Well, Yair -198, Pitbull +164. I'm curious to know, Andrew. What is your take on this fight? What do you have going on here?
This is another one where I don't think it's necessarily like a clear fight to call. I went into tape here thinking, if Pitbull is able to get takedowns, Yair is so bad off of his back. And then I watched like so many Pitbull fights, and he just doesn't offensively wrestle. Like if you look at the Borix fight, he's not getting takedowns because he's changing levels and shooting a double. Like Borix is throwing flying knees and God knows what else and getting taken down off that. So I don't think you could necessarily rely on him to do that. So I'm not looking like dying to play plus money there. I think Yair is a better striker. Pitbull doesn't have a ton of volume. Like he kind of looks for a bigger shot. Yair, I think, is going to land more leg kicks and body kicks. It's just hard. Like I can't play this price on Yair because I said Pitbull's not going to offensively grapple, but like if he just slips on a banana peel and ends up on his back for one of the rounds, like you probably don't want to be holding minus 200. So I'm picking Yair here. But I think it probably goes all 3 rounds. I think it probably is like a 29-28 Yair type of decision, maybe even 30-27. But like I said, I thought of a better way to phrase it. There's too much downside for Yair to be able to lay minus 200 here. Because like I said, if he falls on his back, that's probably the round.
It's exactly how I feel. I went into this fight. I really wanted to be on Patricio Pitbull. I'm like, please, for the love of God, just be somebody who wrestles. All you have to do is wrestle Yair, and you can win this fight. He doesn't wrestle. He just kind of stands there, staring, waiting to counter, waiting for some action, waiting to, like you said, Andrew, so very well, just waiting to land the bigger shot. And against Yair, I'm watching him versus Jeremy Kennedy, and I'm first at thinking, before the fight really starts, I'm like, oh, Jeremy Kennedy's big. This is kind of a good prototype to dealing with the bigger Yair. Jeremy Kennedy stands there and does nothing. He's doing nothing the whole fight. I mean, he's just pitter-pattering him. Yair is going to be pitter-patter, but all like heavy pace and action with like some power, some electricity on those kicks. Jeremy Kennedy is doing absolutely nothing. And then, not for nothing, watching him get blasted by Suzuki in Ryzen. I mean, I don't know what they're feeding those Ryzen guys, but that guy looked so huge and jacked.
It was up a weight class on 1 week notice because he was there training someone, like cornering, and he took the fight as like a dumb super short notice up. Like he was at 155. This one's at 145, and he's a career 135er.
Yeah, 155, 154, exactly. Yeah, very, very bad choice. I mean, he looked terrible. He didn't even look in shape, to your point. And I just don't like that look from him. I just don't like that look from him because he's somebody that's like kind of banks on his durability on some level, right? Like he's just this cannon that wants to stand there and out strike you and out eat you. And I just don't think that that's a good idea versus Yair. So since you're not going to wrestle him, I'm not going to take you. But Yair is just a classic shit the better. I mean, I was so happy to be on Brian Ortega with him as a favorite. Brian Ortega rolls his own ankle. He can barely fight and still gets the win. So, yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. And so I like the over, like you said, though, Andrew. I hate to ride that parade with you, but I really do like the over here. I don't necessarily see a finish. Yair is fairly durable if you're not putting a pace on him, and I don't see Pitbull doing that.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, hasn't had a reason to offensively wrestle. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. It is dog or pass in this matchup. I'm not taking Yair at this price because the downside is too high, like Andrew so succinctly said. I'm glad you chose us. Having a fantastic time tonight. Appreciate you. And we're moving on because this is the Lord's fight. We gotta watch the
when has a fight that was not a main event, like when has a fight that been this hyped before? I mean, they're not number one contenders. I mean, this is fucking fantastic. They should have put them on the poster.
Yeah, Thug Nasty versus Lord. This could be controversial because maybe Bryce Mitchell doesn't recognize John Silva as his Lord.
Wait, did we miss Andrew's nicknames again? Or am I just...
No. He said Pitbull.
Oh, Pitbull, we did that.
Yeah,
so wait, I need to know his nicknames here, though.
This is my best one, I think.
Nice. Oh, shit. I'm ready.
I went with Bryce, No Spice Mitchell.
Yes.
No Spice.
This is my personal favorite versus Billie Jean Silva.
Nice. Very good. I like that.
I'm glad you guys like it. I spent a lot of time.
This is amazing. Listen, I'm inspired that our guests are now prepared to give nicknames on the show. This is truly the genesis of all my work on Chronic Combat. I'm so happy.
You want to hear the funniest part? People ask me all the time, like I've been doing podcasts for years, and people are like, "Oh, do you do like any work beforehand, whatever?" Like I've never one single time did any kind of preparation in terms of like, oh, let me make notes for like the Mitchell versus Silva fight, and it's like right here I listed out like my nicknames.
I'm so happy.
Listing out the
so
nicknames.
I love that.
Ooh,
in totally unrelated news to the nicknames, this will be my last podcast. I will be stepping away.
Oh no.
No, that's awesome, man. Really funny. I love that.
So good.
Bryce brain down. I like that.
That's pretty good. Grateful that we are grateful that you are here for the nicknames as well. Jean Pitbull Silva. Yep, he's barking. Oof, oof. I don't know. Yeah, that's basically what we're looking for out here. Silva should walk out dressed as a demon. So what I wanted to do, and I didn't execute it properly, but where Jean Silva's hanging on the cage, and then Bryce Mitchell has like the Bible over his head, and then he would be like performing like a exorcism of Jean Silva.
So what do you actually think will happen in this fight? Is he going to give him an exorcism or what?
No, Jean Silva is going to exorcise the demons of Bryce Mitchell and leave him twitching on the ground again. Quite frankly, I think any downside to this fight is Jean Silva being controlled for an extended period of time. I don't think his submission defense is bad enough to get submitted by Bryce Mitchell, who's had difficulty submitting any type of, person that's above like a blue belt in grappling. And in this fight, I think Silva, while he gets caught off guard by the takedown attempts of Charles Jourdain, you're not preparing for takedown attempts when you're preparing for Charles Jourdain in a fight. So when he starts shooting takedowns because he doesn't like what's happening from distance, well, what does Jean Silva do? Okay, he gets right back to his feet, and it's 7 takedown attempts, and he's averaging 11 seconds of control per takedown attempt. That's elite get-up game and stuffing and separating of takedowns. And, if you want to give credit to Charles Jourdain for landing them, you got to give credit to Jean Silva for how little time he spends being controlled off of 7 takedown attempts. And then Bryce Mitchell, we've seen him shoot a multitude of takedown attempts and chaining attempts against opponents. The problem is when he's facing anybody that actually has a competent get-up game, and Danny Gay doesn't have that. Let's be serious. Danny Gay doesn't have a competent takedown defense or a get-up game, but he has power in his hands. Well, now Jean Silva, he's got a super competent grappling game, one where he's going to roll for a heel hook to get you to think about it, to try to get himself to stand up. He's going to use a guillotine attempt to get you to think about it, to try to go ahead to stand up. It's not going to be where like Bryce Mitchell can just kind of settle in and get comfortable in any position. And that's where I feel super confident that if this fight takes place on the mat, I think people are going to be surprised about where Jean Silva is on that level in comparison to Bryce Mitchell. And I think when this fight takes place at distance, Jean Silva might play like pretty for a little bit and start clapping hands and pretend he's his buddy. But Bryce Mitchell, he's going to be knocked out brutally at some point within the first couple of rounds here. It's round 1, round 2 knockout. Don't overthink it. I know what the upside is for Mitchell, but I just don't think it really plays out at a high probability in this fight. I think the line's probably more appropriate where it is now versus where it opened at like that, minus 400, minus 500. But I think it's still correct. I still think Silva wins this a vast majority of the time.
Yeah, I think you're right too. As much as it pains me to say, even though I'm really not, I am not a Bryce Mitchell fan at all. I don't like him at all. Yeah, honestly, Bryce Mitchell's probably going to take my spot because after this fight, he'll probably be done. Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with you. I think if you're knocking out fairly tough guys in Charles Jourdain, and I know Melsik Bagdasaryan sucks, but he hadn't been finished before. I hadn't been knocked out before, I should say. Drew Dober with the cut stoppage. You're not knocking out Drew, but at the same time, he's taking that fight on a week's notice up a weight class. So the fact that he still even got the finish is pretty damn impressive. Yeah, I think to your point, TB, I think Jean Silva's jiu-jitsu and general ground game is going to be a bit underrated in this spot. And I don't love Bryce Mitchell's general chin. Losing to Brad Katona will always live rent-free in my mind. That's very funny stuff. And even in the Dan Ige fight, where Dan Ige really doesn't have great takedown defense, he's kind of struggles at times to really get those takedowns. So I'm not super sold on it. So the line has come all the way down, though. That's like the crazy thing. Like, what was he like? Minus 500 opened up, and everybody and their grandma bets Bryce Mitchell. I mean, I don't know if that means just everybody and their grandma's an anti-Semitic, but like I don't know. It's just it's definitely weird. The line movement's definitely weird. So they must have taken some respected action on the dog. So Mr. Line Mover himself, did you move the line? Did you do it? Are you anti-Semitic?
I am, but that's not why I bet Bryce Mitchell. No, I bet Mitchell on the look ahead line when he was like plus 320. So it's a pass for me here because I do think, I do like there's a clear path to victory for Bryce here. Like there's no denying that. He has all the grappling upside between the two. He's a grinder, and like how often is the chain grappler, a big underdog versus the striker? That being said, there's a lot of stuff to like about Gene Silva in general. Like I was kind of skeptical of him at first coming to the UFC, but he's such a physical fighter. His hardware is great. He seems extremely durable. He seems powerful, and I don't think he'll be easy to control, especially at first. I think if Bryce could get the game going, it could snowball from there. But yeah, it's an interesting fight for sure, and I think it's really the last question that needs to be answered about Silva because he checks a lot of other boxes, and but this is a huge one, obviously, and it's completely unknown. So I think it's Mitchell or pass.
Yeah, I can understand it. I totally get it because I wouldn't play the money line in this perspective. I truly would just play the Silva round 1, round 2 knockout. He's going to want it at distance, and if he doesn't finish it that way, then you're probably not going to be happy if this fight's carrying on to round 3. The guys that have been able to survive that late against him have generally high-level durability. Like, what was it, Vallejos on a Contender Series? That guy is an absolute brick chin. Then Dober, I mean, that guy's got a crazy chin as well. And you think about the damage he took in that fight, that generally carries over to your next matchups. And we've seen the type of fall-off he's had from attrition. I don't think Mitchell eat those strikes and find success. Like he cuts very easily, as we've seen in multiple other matchups. His eye gets busted open against far worse strikers than John Silva. So yeah, round 1, round 2 knockout would be the only way I would want to do it. I'm not going to take his money line.
That's dangerous, but I guess that would be his path, wouldn't it?
That's my thought. If you're in round 3, you're probably not feeling great about the fight heading towards a knockout for Silva at that point. He probably hasn't had
Bryce Mitchell is tough. I mean, why couldn't Gene Silva stuff some takedowns and win a decision?
I don't know. The way that I've seen how Bryce Mitchell reacts to strikes against certain people, he's able to fight through against a lot, but I really don't love what I see when you're able to touch him. So if Silva is not able to touch him early, that means Mitchell's having enough success where I wouldn't want a round 3 knockout on the ticket anyways.
Yeah,
that's at least my thought.
That makes sense. And
of course, a great question.
That is a good question. And of course, Mr. Gombas helped move that line. So anybody that didn't get plus 300 and wanted it, make sure you thank your boy.
You're a loser.
And don't you forget.
Unless he loses, then I never even bet it in the first place.
You actually had Gene Silva as an underdog.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you see how I logged it on Bet MMA?
For $1 million.
Right, 11 units.
Yeah.
All right, we've got cousin Nikita Krylov, the Miner, versus Dominick, the Devastator, Reyes. I'm wondering if he's headed more towards being the Devastated.
We're
going to find out. Yeah. But Andrew, what are your nicknames in this one?
So I went with Dom the Bomb Reyes.
Very good.
Versus Nikita Big Skeeta Krylov.
Yes, Skeeta. That's the best one.
That's incredible.
That's the best one I've ever heard.
You don't realize we call each other Skeeter probably half the time we talk to each other. So That is actually gigantically done right there.
Nikita, the big Skeeta.
Hell yeah.
That's actually on the Hall of Fame one. You've done
Oh
it.
my God! Wow, that actually
Congratulations.
the Guru's signing back up to do the show in the future because of how good that one was.
Oh, that's the best one.
Thank you.
Wow, and now I'm super biased in this breakdown. I'm gonna have to pass it up. Andrew, what do you think about this fight? We'll let you kick this one up.
Yeah, I would probably go as far to say that this is like the hardest fight on the card to call. It's at least in the top 3 for me because on one hand you have Reyes who, he lost that close fight to John Jones, and after that he was just like annihilated like 3 times in a row or whatever it was. Took a ton of damage, didn't look like himself. Then he bounced back with a couple, he didn't go retire. He didn't go bury his head in the sand. He bounced back with a couple wins in a row, a couple finishes in a row. On the other hand, you have Krylov, who put together a little win streak, and then went away for a couple years. And really, like, Krylov primarily is best as he's not a bad striker, but he's best as a grappler. And Reyes, I don't think is easy to grapple. And Krylov just kind of, in general, is a kind of a little bit of a wild fighter. Like, most of his wins have come by finish. Like, he's gotten finished too. Reyes, I think he's pretty athletic. Like, I don't think he's going to be easy to take down and hold down. But, like, I ultimately pick Krylov because I do think he has more ways to win. So that's my thoughts on that one. But I really had a hard time with this one.
I agree. I think, there's a lot of ways I could see this happening inside the distance for either fighter. And, both have an experience in going the distance as well. So I think with Krylov, what stood out to me was he seems to have a bit more of an efficiency at minute winning. And we're going big screen here. I think oh, wow, this is a weird one. Can I do better? I think I could do better. There we go. So for here, I mean, Krylov, what stands out is his high control rate, the amount of time that he spends controlling his opponents. And Dom really doesn't do that in general. So I think that with Krylov, he's got in his back pocket, the grappling upside, the positional control. He's got way better scrambling in jiu-jitsu. So even if Reyes were to land a takedown, I mean, the way that you see Krylov scramble against someone like, what was it, Glover, Jan? I mean, he's in some high-level matchups, this guy. And you see the way that he flows through positions. Sometimes he can get beaten a scramble. But I don't think Dom is that type of guy on the mat. And then on the other end of things, from distance, I think Krylov has also faced way more dangerous strikers as well. And his kicks are way more fluid than that of Dom Reyes, the karate background. You can definitely see it because he lands a ton of calf kicks and body kicks, as well as being able to throw up to the head, where Dom is a bit more just like he's a boxer with some head kicks, is the way I see it most with him. And I don't think his power is going to be enough to scare Krylov off of landing volume. And he's probably also going to be the more fluid athlete. Dom is a bit more of like blitzing and power and like waiting for the right moment to explode. I think Krylov is going to be busy enough to also stifle the threats with any potential grappling threats that if he gets in danger. So I feel pretty good about the picking Krylov to win the fight. And I think what could be interesting, a little bit. I'm not sure about if the sources are correct, but I do think that the knockout is an interesting prop. Just that Dom, maybe it wasn't chin issues the first few knockouts, but when Ryan Spann is dropping you off a jab, it does make you concerned.
Wait, right? You've said a lot of crazy things in that breakdown. Let me ask you a question. Yes. Did you say that Nikita Krylov has faced more dangerous strikers than Dominick Reyes? How could you is that what you said? Did you mean that?
Yeah,
because how he's faced Yair Prohaska and John Jones. What do you? They both faced Jan Blachowicz.
Volkan Ozdemir, Alexander Gustafsson was solid in his own right. Magomed Ankalaev, he's a pretty good striker. I think he's better than Dom Reyes. And Ovince St. Preux is not that he's at that time pretty solid. Also, Walt Harris in the beginning of his career, that was a hilarious one, but that doesn't really count, I don't think. But yeah, I think he's fought better strikers than Dom Reyes.
They both fought Volkan Ozdemir. They've only one of them has fought the GOAT. They both fought Jan Blachowicz. Only one of them has fought Yair Prohaska. I mean, I don't.
Okay, none of these guys have knocked out Nikita
Alexander
Krylov.
Gustafsson in 2022. Really, dude?
But-
I don't know.
I'm just saying none of these guys have knocked out Nikita Krylov, and I don't expect Dom Reyes to do it either. What about Jan Blachowicz? That was a submission. He loses in a scramble, but he knocks out Dom.
Well, the fact that you don't think Dom is getting a knockout, I mean, that's why. I mean, I don't necessarily like Dom in this fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Nikita generally gets submitted, and I don't really see that as a game from Dom Reyes. Dom Reyes, while like Andrew said, he does have like overall like a solid takedown defense number. I'm not necessarily sold on his takedown defense. I mean, who has he fought that actually goes for volume takedowns? The guy that's like quote unquote shot the most on him was John Jones. But those are like half-hearted trips and stuff like that. It was a really strange fight. Like nobody's actually shooting volume. And I mean, who's he fought that has a 40% top time control? I mean, that's a stat that we generally look to signify somebody is elite at something. I mean, that is elite top control time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, could he get knocked doing something stupid? I mean, maybe. But I feel like Dom is generally the one doing more things stupid more often than not. So I do like Nikita, but at the money line price as it is, I think it's kind of untouchable. I almost feel like this looks more like the Volkanovski fight for Nikita Krylov and just kind of goes to the distance. But maybe I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, I do think control wrestling, like I talked about, is definitely a big upside for Krylov here. That's why I'm confidently picking him. I just think, are you running out there to play his money line here? That's my worry. I'm trying to figure out what the angle is to attack it. Or if it's not something to attack. Is it an over 1.5?
That's an interesting thought. I kind of like that. Or even just a fight goes the distance and you get plus money. You can stake less.
It's interesting, So I think that there's we gotta dig a little deeper on grandma's couch cushions here, because I don't think that there's a money line play to be had.
It doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, and Reyes seems like the public, kind of darling. Yeah, what could go wrong? Yeah. Boom! He's dead. I went on a hang gliding accident on you. I'm dead.
Honestly, that would be the funny thing, that everybody's betting Krylov by sub, and he just knocks him out because it's fucking Dom Reyes.
Smart people have said things. Look at that. Guru and the Dogfather. Knockout. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even necessarily make sense because Krylov has 16 submissions and has 12 knockouts. Like, I mean, he's just as liable to do it.
Kyokushin Karate. Make sure you guys are doing the right thing. If you haven't already, I'm extremely judgmental right now. TB, I'm like an old man. I'm sitting on my porch. I'm shaking my fist in anger at you for not having thrown a like on this video or subscribing to the channel. If you haven't done those things, it's pretty messed up, but you can fix it right now. And it costs you, it's free 99 actually, to do all of that. If you're crazy enough, you would donate to the channel to support the boys that come out here and have a good time. But it's not a necessity. So what I do ask, please do the right thing. Just subscribe to the channel, like the video, and make sure you join us every Thursday for a good time. And bring the nicknames. Be as prepared as Benino, Dominick the Diddler Reyes, and Mr. Gombas himself. He's doing an absolutely fantastic job. So shout out to Andrew Gombas, because, I mean, he's got his dad powers are just evolving at an evolutionary rate right now.
Nikita the Skeeta is getting the fucking win. I promise.
Yes. Maybe we should max bet Nikita the Skeeta.
Dude, imagine like they go to announce him Saturday and you hear Nikita the Skeeta Krylov. Like at that point, you just know that some shit's going down.
So honestly, the nickname we're really trying to get heard is Big Meal Shamil. That one has really picked up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like very fitting. Like, I think he would actually consider using that.
Right.
That's actually my best work ever. I don't think I've ever done anything
that is TB's best work of all time, without a doubt.
There's a lot to choose from.
And my best work of all time was Pat Sabatini last week.
Yeah. Just betting on Pat. That was all. All right.
I sent you guys a few from last week, I think.
Yes, yeah, you nailed it. We're gonna need them week to week.
Yeah.
Well, if you want, you can have your own segment on the show. We'll do 2 minutes.
You just send in like a
nicknames.
Yeah.
I'll submit a list. Done.
We love it.
Dan, 50K Ige plus 145 versus Sean, the sniper, Woodson, California Longwood, Redwood, or whatever those tall trees are for Sean Woodson. And didn't it used to be Dynamite Dan? I thought that was pretty good. Or maybe Damn Daniel. Andrew, what do you got here?
What do I have here? I did I forget this fight. Oh, no. I got this is a basic one, but I did Dan the Man Ige.
Okay.
Ooh, that's terrible. I hate it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you.
Better.
That's phoned in.
Take
The
it
love
on-
wasn't in that one.
I'm about to bring it back home. Taking on Sean Charles Woodson.
Yes.
Yes, we love the sports
You
names randomly.
Slender Man, that's pretty good too.
Redeem myself there.
Big time redemption.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
All right, so Dan Ige plus 145, Sean Woodson minus 175. The concerns I have here is like I think they have it priced correctly because I think all the minute winning upside goes to Sean Woodson, and they don't even have him quite at minus 200 because all the finishing upside is on the Dan Ige side. Quite frankly, what scares me is that we've seen guys with less reach and less athleticism be able to land on Woodson, and I think Ige probably has the best boxing technique of said fighters, like a Charles Jourdain, like the fight where it ends up going to a draw, Saldana. So I think like Ige, he's got more danger from like a pure boxing perspective, but he also does a really
one might say he's in the danger zone, perhaps?
The danger zone. Ooh. It's concerning though, because I feel like unless Sean Woodson actively makes a mistake, then he should be able to maintain his range and distance, especially in the large octagon. And Ige is not really a prolific takedown guy. And watching Woodson deal with that from like Yusuf Zalal and other more difficult grapplers, I think he could handle the Dan Ige wrestling experience. So listen, Dan Ige by knockout, if you're going to play a prop and you want to be on the Ige side, that's probably where I'd be, is Ige by knockout.
You have
and Woodson, it would be him by decision.
Yep.
Guru, are you
no,
like
that's
okay.
it? I was literally looking up those props exactly. You can get minus 105 on Sean Woodson decision, and you can get plus 450 on Dan Ige KO. I think if there's any value left in the fight, that's probably it. But I honestly, this is going to look like a pride fight. Dude's going to look absolutely huge. I think he's going to have real trouble with his length and reach. I don't know what that means. Just twin baby. You might I have no idea what that means. I think Sean Woodson has like stepped it up a notch. And honestly, he finally did what he needed to do versus Fernando Padilla. He finally put a stamp on a performance. And now he gets a chance to, kind of crack the top 15 here and top 20 at least in perennial gatekeeper Dan Ige. I just don't necessarily see the 50K moment from Dan. It's been a while since he's hit one. I guess he did just have one versus Andre Fili. But Andre Fili's like really washed, huh? That seems to who it's against, right? Damon Jackson washed. Gavin Tucker was always washed. Danny Henry, that name just jogged my memory. That's really funny. I didn't even remember who that was. Yeah. Does it feel weird that this is the same price as Padilla? I think the market has it's not quite the same number. It's close to it. You're right.
Yeah, it's curious. Something's telling me not to bet the Woodson side.
He just fights too close. I mean, it's a split. It's a split with Jourdain. He decisionates Dennis Bazookia. I mean, what is his upside? You're not finishing Dan Ige. His upside is what? Looking really good in a decision as opposed to what? Looking really bad in one.
Right.
So yeah, I don't love it. I guess in that respect, you kind of have to be on Dan Ige, especially when I always famously say these judges are not fucking watching the fights. They're not watching the fight.
He is famous for this.
So
all right.
I have said it. I don't mind. I actually don't mind the tattoo. You don't like the tattoo, or you do like it?
Born ready? No, I don't like that. It's weird. I don't know.
What born ready?
That-
I mean, I like the kind of the cityscape. It's not bad. I mean, he's St. Louis.
I don't know. It's
a little sus, but
Andrew, what do you think about this fight? You don't have to tell us what you think about the tattoo, unless you want to.
No, I'm not a tattoo guy, but I am a 50K Ige guy in general. I think this is a close fight, and to me, like what's staggering is the difference in strength of schedule between these two. Like Ige's fought in killers. Like if you look at like the media scorecards for like Lerone Murphy and Bryce Mitchell, like there are a few people that like gave Ige those decisions, and then like on the Woodson side, you know, he's had better success in terms of wins, losses, but like if you put Woodson up against Ige's strength of schedule, I don't think he does well. And on the flip side, it's impossible to ignore how good Woodson's striking metrics are. He's extremely long. He's a good boxer, great output. This fight just depends on if you think Ige could get on the inside consistently. Like I don't project either guy to have much grappling success. I think this is probably a stand-up fight where it really just depends how much Ige could bite down on the mouthpiece and get it on the inside. So, gun to my head, I think it's Ige or pass. I don't have anything here at the moment. So,
I think in the way that you break that down, I just think that he gets tagged too much. His strike,
he probably will eat a lot of jabs.
He's too fast, and when he gets inside, he's going to be shifty. He's a fucking weasel. The big cage. He's younger. You're right. Like I think everything you're saying is true. The value is totally on Dan here, but I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can bite on my mouthpiece and go with Dan Ige because I don't know. I think he needs a finish. I think if it goes to the scorecards, I think he's going to be in trouble. If it was 5 rounds for whatever reason, I would like Dan Ige much more, which I believe that not the Bryce Mitchell fight, but the Josh Emmett fight was certainly.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on the yeah. I think the
Occam's razor tells me Sean Woodson decision -105, and you keep rolling.
But yeah, this is also the you hedge with this. It's the chronic hedgehog. All right, we're moving on. It's Petr Yan Xiaonan versus
what? That's it.
I put that too. I
hate it.
Put that too.
It's organic.
I hate it. It's so bad.
It's amazing.
I literally put that too. Hang on. Wait, hang on. I'm pulling it up so you can see it.
Yes. Yes, let's go.
That's so great.
Oh my god.
Fear the Virna Jandiroba.
That's
because she looks like Miranda Maverick. Like
no, just fear the and Virna kind of rhymes.
Fear the and Virna. Oh, yeah, I didn't even
pretty
think
good.
Fear the
Virna. So Petr Yan here, Xiaonan, and then the national bird of wherever Virna's from, the kakara. Or better, maybe you should fear her and wherever she's looking. Virna Jandiroba, she's got eyes all over you.
See, I like Benino's nickname, even though he didn't like Woodson's tattoos.
Yeah.
Virna, eye on the prize, Jandiroba.
Yeah, her eyes are all over the prize. Nice.
Yeah, gently.
Nice. Pretty good. Whatever. Yeah, plus 124.
Well, so you got rid of Yan Xiaonan's actual nickname. And you got rid of but you kept Jandiroba's.
Wait, Yan has a real nickname now?
Yeah, it's 9. No, she's always had it. It's 9.
It's not in UFC stats. It's not a real nickname.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
They've called her it before.
Well, it's not officially reported by UFC.com, so
it's officially in our notes.
That means I need to do my job. That means you pulled it from Tapology, so I don't trust it. UFC stats is not reporting on it, so I will call fraudulence. This is fake news. Karkara, Rob Schneider is going to get it done. Ultimately, when the biggest thing that I take away from looking at the stats,
I don't think we can go bigger on this one. I really don't want to see their faces any bigger.
I should probably zoom in just on the right side. We don't even need the stats here.
It's really making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, that's also part of the point. What's very important here is even giving up a little bit of height. Virna does have a reach advantage here. So I think she's going to be able to close the distance and get to where she needs to connect and make contact with Xiaonan. And whether it's a body lock, whether it's a single leg, whether it's a double leg, whether it's pure sheer will, just like circling around to the back off of a stuffed takedown along the cage, Virna's going to have 2 out of 3 rounds end up in significant amount of control. It's what she does. She shoots 5 takedowns per 5 minutes. She lands them at 35%. And Xiaonan is only going to stuff, 3 out of every 4. So even if she stuffs the first few, right, Jandiroba has an elite control rate of 41% of total fight time in control position. And this is a fighter that's lost multiple fights against higher level grapplers than her in the UFC. But like, she's such a clear level above the grappling of Xiaonan. And even with the improvements we've seen in Xiaonan's initial takedown defense, that doesn't work as well to explosively scramble against someone that's going to capitalize on those moments. And I think whereas Mackenzie Dern's a little bit more wild, doesn't really conserve her energy and is more finish over position, Jandiroba, she's just so nasty to deal with on the mat. I think Virna the Burna, I think she's going to get it done here. And I'm going to go ahead. I don't know if I'm pulling it on the money line, but I'm not sure if she gets a submission or if it goes the distance to a decision. We've seen Xiaonan's submission defense. She's very good at not trying to get up and just defending until you watch. Guru, what did you see on tape?
In this fight?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I think that, I saw a lot of interesting things from Xiaonan in terms of like, she takes down Zhang Weili and, she actually knocks her down too. It's fairly impressive. She's a fantastic athlete. But what I also saw in the Zhang Weili fight is her go to sleep in round 1. I mean, she got choked out. And I'm not sure what Herzog was looking at, but like, he's not doing a good job of watching the fighter. And she was out cold. It should have been a sub round 1. And the problem is that if that, instead of saying a unanimous decision loss, if that said a round 1 submission loss, I feel like Virna would be like minus 300 here. So, I mean, Xiaonan also did a really good job in the rest of the fight, like not making that mistake again. So it's possible she's just kind of made those improvements. We have seen her make improvements since losing which fight was that? With the Esparza fight. She really started making grappling improvements there since then. But I'm just not necessarily convinced it's enough. And seeing her go to sleep by a rear naked choke just the other day, right, is like, it's just kind of too prevalent in my mind. So I can't get there. I really wanted to bet Jan and the dog because I feel if she can keep it standing by being the stronger athlete, like it's a disaster for Virna. But maybe I'm just a Virna hater. Really, really curious to hear what Andrew has to say because when he talks, it brings a lot of clarity.
Well, she's got her eye on you, that's for sure. Yeah, I lean the Jandiroba side here. She's someone who I've backed a lot, and she just she's so structured in what she does. Like she has such a clean approach in terms of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like she doesn't go out there and get tricky. She doesn't try to strike and doesn't. You're never gonna get a surprise from her. She's very reliable.
She's kind of she's like surgical in a way. She's precise in what she wants to do.
Yeah, and her takedowns aren't the best, but like they get the job done. And once she's on top, she's really, really good there. Like I think if she gets takedowns here, like Piotr Jan's not gonna get up, and it probably is gonna be the rounds. I also think that like I said, she doesn't mess around on the feet and like she doesn't get into these like big exchanges. Like she's pretty much just looking to avoid exchanges until she's ready to shoot. And she wins fights that, on paper seem hard for her. Like to me, on paper, like the Godinez fight was going to be hard for her. And she just like finds a way to get her game going. And then against a girl like Marina Rodriguez, she goes out there and dominates. And she just, in my opinion, she could give Zhang a difficult matchup if she wins this and gets a title shot. Because if you look at who she's lost to, like I think she's lost 3 fights off the top of my head in her entire career, and it's to the 3 best grapplers in like the history of the division. Like it's Esparza,
Exactly.
Darren and Rebos, and I think she won at least around. I think she won a round in all those fights, and none of them were like blowouts. None of them were non-competitive. So yeah, I mean, Xiaonan obviously got beat up pretty good a few years ago by Carla. Like I assume she has made improvements for them since then, but the gap you have to overcome to make like as big of a leap from where she was then to Virna's level is like impossible to do as an adult. Like to close the gap enough for that to really say that she's like on Virna's level or anything close to it. Like she would have been had to do this since she was a kid. So I think she's better than she was then. I don't think she's good enough. Obviously, you know, on the feet she's much better. You know, she's athletic, has power. Fight probably looks obvious in hindsight, but I'm gonna go with Jandiroba here.
It's funny because to your point, Dogfather, I mean, TB and I, that was one of our best picks back in the day. We were on Carla Esparza there as the underdog, and that was awesome. Yeah, again, Andrew, I think you make a ton of excellent points, and it does kind of bring those things into focus. Yeah, I'm just not sure that she necessarily does enough. And one thing I did want to highlight was that once again here, if you look at the percent of time spent in top control on the stats, we hit that wonderful 40% number again, that elite ground control metric that we look for. So that really does show me that she is going to get it there. It's kind of why I lean Krylov, and if I'm doing that, then I really should be leaning Virna here too. So yeah. I think I do.
We got Jim Miller. No more A1. No more A1 for this guy versus.
I think it's A10, not A1.
Whatever it is, A10.
Well, I'm just telling you.
Fair enough.
I think it's A10. It's A10 Miller.
All right.
It's not A1 steak sauce.
I was thinking he was like that A1 steak sauce.
You just love steak. You fuck.
I do. Versus Chase the Dream Hooper.
Is that your favorite food?
It's up there, you know. I mean, who doesn't love a good steak?
I don't know, like, because I feel like, I don't know. It's like if I'm going to a fancy restaurant, like a steakhouse would probably be like fourth on my list of like fancy places I want to go. Or third. I mean, steakhouses generally have like the other fancy food too, but I think you know what I mean.
There's a variety.
I'm more of like a seafood guy, I guess, is my point.
It's a variety of fine food offerings I've enjoyed. Steakhouse is not the only place I go.
Andrew, where do you land on the steak seafood debate? You prefer steak or seafood?
You really can't go wrong. Like elite tier for me in both.
Of course.
It's hard, man.
Is it just total mood?
Yeah, pretty much. Like
because like just for me, like some people just like love fucking steak, and believe me, like I love a good ribeye, I love a good fillet, but like I love fucking shrimp and clams and like all the good shit. Like I love all that shit.
I'm with you.
Like I went to Nobu and had like a fantastic dinner. Like you haven't lived till you had some miso cod. Like
true.
Yeah.
Who's better upside? I think the better upside. Probably seafood with like the higher level. Like you get one of those like the nice part of the steakhouse. No, but at the steakhouse for an appetizer, you get the cold bar of like the pulled crab, lobster, shrimp cocktail. So you get the best of both worlds, brother. You don't have to just have one right. I mean, you know how it is. So you know what I mean. And then which is the best? I mean, I've enjoyed Ruth Chris is one I've been also. There's one in the city as well. I forget name. There's also a few more local places I've been as well that I love. It's as long as you got high quality service and you know how to cook the steak, you're doing it right.
Peter Luger's, but yeah, I mean you could go.
Yeah, that's a great one too. All right. So, anyways, Jim Miller's gonna get beat up like an old steak in this fight on the mat. If he's not getting a guillotine on the first takedown attempt, and Chase Hooper shows that he knows how to defend them,
submitting Chase Hooper.
Exactly. But if he submitted Damon Jackson, right, then that's like, no. Chase Hooper, he's going to be fine. He's going to scramble. He's going to be
If he finishes Chase Hooper, he's going to knock him. Let's just be honest. But he's not. I don't think he's going to knock him. No. The real question is that when you look at Jim Miller, who's very rarely finished, by the guys he's gotten finished by, they're elite finishers, right? Like he's gotten finished by Charles Oliveira. I mean, the Dan Hooker one, Dan Hooker's just a savage. He gets finished by Michael Chiesa, Donald Cerrone, Nate Diaz. So, I mean, he's getting finished by legends of the sport here. Whereas, Chase Hooper, like, I mean, he kind of, I don't like when you watch him finish his last two fights. I mean, he finishes Clay Guida quickly, but Clay Guida is always getting submitted. That was an easy one. And the Slava Claus fight, I will never forgive Keith Peterson for robbing me of my round 2 KO prop, because he KO'd him like 6 times and he just made sure to let him get choked out instead. I just feel like Jim Miller's gonna not necessarily like I think he'll play his game. Like I think he'll go to the ground with him if the fight goes there. And I think he'll scramble with him if he needs to. And I think he might end up making a mistake and get submitted here. So I do kind of like Chase Hooper early, like the round 1 sub, but I wouldn't exactly be shocked if you told me Chase Hooper won a decision.
Yeah. Andrew?
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say here. Let me see what I did nickname-wise.
Yeah.
I did Jim the Killer Miller taking on Chase the Pooper Scooper Hooper.
Nice.
And, yeah, I think Hooper should be fine
The Pooper
here.
Scooper.
He's getting, obviously, like, I don't need to go on and on about how this is like a career trajectories fight, and Hooper should be fine in every aspect, like especially if it goes later, like he probably gets on top. Yeah, like you guys know the deal here.
Yep, we love it. All right, we are moving on then to Darren the Damage Elkins. He's basically Nate the Train reincarnated. Or maybe Nate the Train is Darren Elkins reincarnated.
I feel like this is like Magic Super Bowl, probably. Like I'm sure he's extremely excited for this fight.
Yep. Also, our boy 138 MMA is absolutely obsessed with both these guys. And then Juicy J, Julian Erosa. It's already a pretty good nickname. Andrew, did you have anything better?
No, not better, but I went with Julian Coolian Erosa versus Darren Darren Big D Elkins.
Big D.
Big D is ridiculous, but what you call him? Julian what?
Coolian.
No.
At least you didn't call him Coulon like Yair called Diego.
That would have been better.
Just sit with that one and see if it grows on you over time.
So Julian Erosa here at minus 340 versus the Damage at plus 270. I mean, whether this fight's taking place at distance for 15 minutes and Erosa's landing the big strikes, or what do you think could happen here, Guru?
I mean, I personally, first I got in on Darren Elkins' money line at like plus 325, and that's kind of gotten away. And then really after looking at some tape and thinking about it, like, I mean, in the Daniel Pineda fight, Darren Elkins, listen, he's tough as nails and he fights out of every single spot. But I mean, Julian Erosa, if you give him that choke, he's finishing it every single time. And there was like 4 different opportunities. So I'm really just thinking that it's going to be Juicy J by round 1 submission. And that's the only way I'm interested in really playing this fight, because I don't necessarily think you're going to, I mean, you could knock him out, but he's been tough. It's usually with ground control or like the, like the Cub Swanson knockout where he just fucking wheel kicks him. That was pretty sweet. So yeah, Juicy J, and maybe I won't get too greedy. Maybe I'll just go round 1 in general. So Juicy J round 1, but I mean, my God, is Juicy J not the type of person? Yeah, I'm not calling him Coolian. Yeah. That's not it. He's the type of guy you love to play as an underdog. I got him underdog last 2 fights in a row, got him by submission last 2 fights in a row. I mean, it's been fantastic, but he's not the type of guy that you want to play as a favorite, i.e. the Alex Caceres fight. So, i.e. the Fernando Padilla fight. So can't get there. I mean, he loves to lose for no reason. So
yeah.
What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like either the money line or the total is wrong here, because if Erosa is like really a minus 300 or minus 350 favorite, like he's probably finishing Elkins at a pretty high clip. So I feel like one of those is probably off, or both maybe is possibly off.
You said that? about the main and co-main. What did you say on Twitter? Was that the main and co-main? Which two fights were those?
Yeah, I feel the same about this fight as I did about those two, where like I said if Mitchell's plus 250, then how's the under? Or I said if Silva's minus 250, how's the under minus 130? Like if Silva really looks that price, like he's gonna knock Bryce out at a high clip. And same thing in the main event. Like if you think Diego Lopes is, I don't know, a pick'em, like do you really not think the under 2.5 at plus 185 is good? So to me, like a lot of these are like improperly correlated. This fight, like it's a weird one because Erosa, in my opinion, has one of the best guillotines in the UFC. Like extremely underrated guillotine. Like the adjustments are perfect. And Elkins is like impossible to guillotine. And like that's how I think the fight's gonna go. Is Elkins is gonna put his head in a bad spot. Erosa is gonna grab a guillotine, and we're gonna go from there.
The way that that's exactly how I felt, dude. And you tell me what you think. Maybe if you did your tape or you're going back to rewatch some, watch the way he readjusts versus Christian Rodriguez and gets that front choke.
Yep.
C-Rod is a solid grappler, has been in those positions a million times. He thinks he's safe there, and he's not. And I'm not sure, like maybe I don't roll enough to know whether that's a technical mistake on C-Rod or if Juicy J is really just that fucking dude. But I tend to lean towards Juicy J being that fucking dude. Like he's got, what is it, like 7 different submissions on his record. Like just in general, like he's so well-rounded with his jiu-jitsu that I tend to think that he's gonna fucking get it.
Yeah, I'll go with that as my prediction as well. Erosa by submission.
Yeah, let's go.
Nice. I love it.
Darren, the CTE Elkins. See, I like that. That's good.
Pretty good
job,
Rothork.
Well done.
Pretty good job. I love how everyone's coming together here. We've got Cedricus the Reaper Dumas versus the artist formerly known as Lord Michal Hussar Oleksiejczuk. It really just means Lord in Polish or whatever, like, you know, overseeing some stuff. So he just changed it around to match his culture. Really, he's the king of Newark, Michal Oleksiejczuk, taking pictures in the streets with the amazing people out there, versus the dumbass, Cedricus Dumas. Andrew, what did you come up with?
I threw this one together last second. Hang on. This was the last one I did. Michal, who do you call Oleksiejczuk?
What does that like? What does that mean? Like Ghostbusters?
Michal, who do you call? Like the Ghostbusters.
Nice.
Versus Cedric the Freak Dumas.
That's actually probably true, if I had to guess.
All right. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad for off the cuff right there. I just feel like if you like Michal Oleksiejczuk here, I mean, you have to play him round 1. It's his only win condition. I really don't see it otherwise. I know that he's won a couple decisions before in his life, but I mean, even the decision that he's won here at the UFC, which was the Modestas Bukauskas split decision. I mean, he did not win that fucking fight. It's a close fight, whatever. I really don't think he won it. So I tend to lean with Cedricus Dumas just in that I feel like his win path is fairly clear. Go out there and grapple. And he'll do it. I feel like if he would have done it versus Nursultan, he would have had a better chance, but he was also getting plagued by the fucking referees, letting him literally poke him in the eye 6 times. But versus Turulian, and again, Turulian sucks, but against Turulian, he runs across the cage and shoots his takedown. Why, if he's going to do that versus Dennis, why isn't he going to do that versus Michal? I think he does. So I think it's very possible that this line could be flipped 2 minutes into this fight. So if you really like Michal, then maybe even take it that way. Otherwise, again, like I think you need Michal to knock him out early. Whereas, I don't know, for all of Dumas's bullshit, like, I mean, getting submitted by a decent jiu-jitsu player in Frem, I don't necessarily think that's on the table here with Olek. And Nursultan, Black, I mean, he's literally round 1 finish magnet, but he's also, I just think, way bigger and way more powerful than Michal. And he also has that submission upside as well, where Mikal I don't think does. So I'm on the dog shot here. Am I crazy for that, guys?
No, I don't think it's crazy because I mean there is a path, and like McCall has shown that his wrestling is that bad. But yeah, I mean, I also think that he's used to fighting the bigger fighters, and he's way more liable to find a finish in this matchup than Dumas is. If you're not finishing like Cody jump a guillotine Brundage when he absolutely checked out of the fight,
I mean, who doesn't finish Dennis Tululian?
and Dennis
everybody finishes Dennis Tululian. So you're 1,000,000% right there. I just feel like he's really limited to kind of getting it in round one.
Round one, round two.
You really think he could knock him round two? Huh? That would be interesting. He hasn't done it in the UFC.
Well, I think what's happened is, he's probably extended his cardio at least the tiniest bit by actually doing work to get down to 185. And the fact of the matter is most of the guys haven't been able to withstand the punching power. And maybe Dumas gets the early wrestling, but we've seen him slow down in multiple matchups, right? So, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he gets off to some early success and smothers him fast. And McCall comes out angry to start round two. That would be the upside to it potentially being round two. But yeah, I mean, like you said, majority of the time, if McCall's winning this fight, he's probably showing him the business with body shots and body head combos and getting Dumas out of
he has I don't know. He just has zero. He's got one win outside of round one in the UFC, and it's a decision.
Yeah,
I just don't like it at all. Like it's to me really is round one or bust. But what do you think, Magic? I think we've made our
Andrew
pretty clear. Magic, I'm just thinking about Magic. Come on, man, get him. We need him on the show.
I know. I'll work on it. But yeah, out of all the fights on this card, this is definitely the one I'm like least enthused about. Like Dumas, athletically gifted, not like super gifted, like skill wise or IQ wise. Mikal is kind of the opposite a little bit. I feel like Mikal wins, but I'm just so unenthused about this fight. I didn't really find any betting angles, so I don't think it's meaningful to add.
You're muted, TB, if you are saying anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't blame you for wanting to pass on this one. It's very low level. I think there's a lot of volatility.
Yeah, what do you mean you don't think SD doesn't have good IQ? He's like, I didn't beat that girl. That was in the past. That wasn't me. Like
exactly what it sounds like.
He literally had 3 different excuses that made no. It made no sense.
You don't love to see it in this case. It's actually pretty terrible. Generally, if you have to beat multiple allegations, anyways. Yeah, you tell them, Dogfather. They're definitely going to believe you this time. In our next fight, we've got the Tibetan Eagle, Sumu Derji versus Moneybag Mitch Raposo. Sumu Derji, I don't know. It's a toughie. Andrew, what are your nicknames here? Or did you have any?
Did I do this one? I might have missed one or two. Let me see. I got. I don't know about this one.
Moneybag Mitch is pretty decent.
That's better than this. I did Mitch no bitch Raposo. Because he's not a bitch. Taking on Sue, who are you, Muderji.
You already had a who are you?
Did we? Who?
Didn't you already do that? You had a question and a nickname for him?
I don't think so.
I think you did. Who was it? It was you did.
Oh, was it?
I said me call. Who do you call?
Yeah, it's a question.
Yeah, it's
a question.
It's a question, but it's different wording.
It's pretty good.
Anyway, this wasn't my best one. I acknowledge that. But they can't all be.
Dan the Man was the worst one.
They can't all be. They just can't.
Exactly.
No, they can't. They can't all be Nikita the Skeeta. Like that's incredible.
Best one ever.
So what do you got? Who do you like here, Andrew?
I like Mitch Raposo here. I just feel like if you look at Sue's fights, like obviously everyone talks about the grappling, which is obviously the key. I agree that Sue's like first line of takedown defense has gotten better. But if you look at like the Tim Elliott fight, when he failed his first couple takedown attempts, he was looking for a single leg. And Sue's so long, like if you pick up his long leg in the air, it's hard to take him down. Mitch Raposo typically shoots a double in on the hips, and I think you have a way better shot of taking down Sue with that technique. On the feet, Sue's better. Obviously, he's long, good striker, but I don't think Raposo's a bad striker here. I think he ran into a really rough matchup against Lima in his last fight. If you look at Contender Series, he'd taken down Hadley a few times with like minimal issues before ended up getting submitted. I just think with the wrestling upside here and like a fight where both guys have clear paths to victory, like I like the dog money here.
That's where I ended up too. I've been fighting with TB, and we'll see where we end up. But I got on Mitch Raposo at plus 180. I can put down a unit there, and I just feel like his path to victory is just kind of clear. Like he needs to wrestle though, and that's like the big problem I have, and why it's not like some huge play. When I watch his tape and his regional tape, like he doesn't like if it was video games and I could control him and I could shoot takedowns for him, I'd be like, yeah, I really like my chances. I don't know that he's going to wrestle. Like he might shoot 2 fucking takedowns, and that would be really, really bad. I mean, I guess it's like, you know, when the Justin Valentine fight, I really want to go back and watch again. But when you're fighting Andre Lima, and that was the fight when I'm like, these judges are not watching. How the fuck is that fight a split decision? Andre Lima pitched a 30-27. He shut him down. How the hell can one judge go 29-28 Mitch Raposo? It's egregious. It doesn't make any sense. Like the only way it makes sense is if you mixed up who the fighters are. So I agree, Dogfather. He is fragile, and like that's the other thing. Like I don't really trust his IQ. I don't trust his takedown defense, and I don't trust his chin. Losing the match now, I don't trust his gas tank. So that's really where I started thinking with Mitch Raposo, and I also think the fight goes the distance too. Like I don't think you're finishing Mitch Raposo because he's no bitch. So I think his dog or pass.
All right. Well, I'm here to diverge. My takeaways from watching Mitch Raposo is he uses some feints, but it's all to throw empty, heavy strikes with no setup. Like there's no calf kick into a jab, into a straight. Like he's winging big punches typically and trying to wait for the right moment to swing and wing these big punches. And when you watch him fight guys like Valentin on the regional scene, I mean, a guy who at the time, you know, basically like you can't even get a height and reach listed on this guy. And Raposo's the bigger guy in this matchup. And in that fight, he immediately hurts Valentin. It's about a minute 30 into the fight. He's already hurt and he's down. He's trying to pound him out. This guy gets to the 4th round with Mitch Raposo. And I know we see like Mitch Raposo shoot a little double leg in the other fight against, you know, the 36-year-old Brazilian mega mind. But that guy jumps onto his back for all these takedown attempts. I'm not really like, I think a lot of what we're seeing is like really low level New England regional MMA, and Mitch is severely undersized here. Like Sumu Derji in his last fight against Charles Johnson, he's the shorter guy, but he has a little bit more reach. In all of his other fights, Sue is typically the bigger guy, and with the larger octagon to swing around here, he throws calf kicks, he throws 1-2s, he feints, he switches off, he swings around. It's just when you're throwing in 4 to 5 punch combinations like Charles Johnson, who comes out and shoots a takedown 15 seconds into the fight. And Sumu Derji stuffs every single early takedown from Charles Johnson. Now, Mitch Raposo, he might be short enough to get in on a double leg attempt, but I think I've seen enough improvements in the at least initial takedown of Sue. And also, he's got a nice triangle game off of his back. Like Charles Johnson, if he doesn't roll out exactly the right way, he's stuck in a triangle armbar attempt, and Muderji uses it to get back up to his feet and separate to finish the round. Now, yeah, we see him get hurt, but it's after a flurry of big strikes from a way more explosive athlete in Charles Johnson, who has way more height and a way bigger reach. I think Muderji should win this fight. I think Mitch, he's no bitch. I think this fight goes the distance. So the Guru, I followed you there. I played to win a unit on the fight goes because I don't need to have the suicide. So I'm good on it, but I will pick him. I think he wins. I think that's why the fight goes the distance.
What do you think of our fight goes the distance angle there, Mr. Andrew?
I don't know. I kind of feel like if Sue's getting his thing going on the feet, like he's got a decent shot to knock Raposo out. And I do think Raposo's going to push a pace. I don't really feel strongly about the total.
Interesting. I would just figure like flyweights and Raposo not being finished kind of.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess he's
it.
been subbed, and I don't really see that as an angle here.
Yeah, me neither.
And I also feel like his knockouts have been kind of against shit competition. Again, like he even takes Valentine, he finishes him late into round 4. That of course wouldn't be happening here.
It's all round 1 finishes against like complete frauds. Like you look at one guy's like 2-0, but now if you look, he's like 4-5. Like or he fought a 4-2 who's now like 4-4, something like that. Like there's a lot of stuff, and like you're watching the one fight against Valentine, the announcers are like, "Oh my god, we've never seen Mitch look this good." It's like, yeah, he's fighting a guy that's shorter than him. Like,
all right, let's keep moving.
Sorry.
So Andrew comes back. We still got 2 more fights.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Vicious, is he married to Jasmine Jazz the Vicious? Is that why he went with this now?
No, his girl's like way uglier than Jasmine, which is actually
that's not
hilarious.
ideal. Tresean Gore versus Matuto Marco Tulio.
What's Matuto mean?
It's a good question, but what I will tell you, he's got the most enviable position amongst all MMA fans, swooping in for the Norma train.
Yeah, get Norma Dumont after she gets her new bazookas. I mean, that's a win.
Yeah, so Marco, he's doing the thing out here, and it means to learn. So I think Tresean Gore is going to learn today. Marco, he's got way more striking output. I think he's got the more well-versed grappling and wrestling, whereas Gore is going to be like the more, like from a squeeze perspective, that guillotine is probably one of the craziest things I've seen. But like Tulio, he should be safe. He should just be able to strike from distance in the large cage, be the more effective guy that throws in combination, and he should get it done. Am I playing him at minus 380? Heavens no. So I think what you could do is look for some type of Tulio
round 1, round 2 prop.
That's exactly. Early finish.
Yeah, that's exactly where I think it goes. I think Gore is very not good. Like, I mean, I just don't really like his skill set. I faded him with Antonio Tricali, who's probably the worst fighter on the roster.
Low volume, no gas.
Hopefully nothing. So I like Marco Tulio here at round 1, round 2, minus 110. I mean, that to me is beautiful because I do think he gets it done.
Yeah, under or plus money. Interesting.
Andrew? Why not just an under? I like that extra 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, so for this one, I've got Marco Polo Tulio and Tresean Frank Gore. I think that
I like both of those. Those are good.
Very good.
I agree with you guys. I don't have much to add here. I think it kind of plays out relatively competitive minutes wise, and I think Tulio finds a knockout shot.
Oh, for sure. All right, beautiful.
Oh, for sure.
All right, we've got Nora the Explorer Cornole versus All Hail Haley Cowan.
Dude, we feel terrible for Haley Cowan. Has suffered nothing but devastating injuries. And Andrew, did you hear about what happened with her husband? You know that story?
Yeah, Magic was telling me the other day, so I just heard of it.
Not good.
Literally getting arrested for child pornography as you're the gym lead coach and owner. Like, what in the world?
I think he also had assault charges against one of his underage students. Even worse.
Yeah. Really unfortunate stuff. And I feel like they've given her a chance to redeem herself and possibly win a fight here. Like first off, like the Cavalcanti fight shouldn't be a split again. Like she absolutely gets washed by Cavalcanti. And then when you look at the Jocelyn Edwards fight, it's a unanimous decision, but Jocelyn Edwards has like 8 minutes of control time. if you had the Torres Finney judges, she doesn't win that fight. Jocelyn Edwards does. And then when you look at the Melissa Mullins fight, it's a 9-minute fight, and Melissa Mullins gets 6 minutes of control time. She gets finished. I just feel like, I mean, Haley Cowan, you have every single reason in the world to fade her, and I am not rushing to the window here by any stretches of the imagination. But, I mean, I'm watching her clinch Jamie Lynn Horth, and I think Horth is a better fighter than Nora. Horth isn't very good, but she's probably better than Nora. Certainly better at grappling. So she's clinching Haley. Haley's clinching Jamie Lynn Horth, and I'm like, why can't she just do this to Nora? Right? Yeah, exactly. All that was terrible. So honestly, Daz, I was kind of considering a Nora inside the distance there for a minute, and I ended up feeling like I'm not sure that she'll do it. I really don't. I'm not sure. I know that Haley's going to throw decent strikes. She's going to be serviceable on the feet, even though she's got no defense. And she's going to shoot for takedowns if she gets into some trouble. And I think she's going to get them. So she's strong enough to get top control. And if she does, we could have another women's dog to open up the card again. Got Talita Alencar last week. Maybe it's Haley Cowan again this week. Yeah, literally. That's exactly what I saw from tape, Dogfather. That's how I felt. I feel like she can win via cage pushing. You're right. But that is also her upside. So it's like,
yeah. Andrew?
Yeah, I think Cohen or pass here. I'm personally picking her to win, just given the grappling upside. Like, I did not like what I saw from Cornell's grappling. She's a better striker, but if Cohen gets her game going here, I think she wins.
I think it's a really winnable fight. And at plus 150, when the fight should really maybe like plus 120 or something like it's like, I've definitely got to do it.
I think we've got something to consider. And what you guys got to do, you got to help us out. If you haven't already, this is the time, the final moment. Let's like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps out so much. And truly, like, without you guys, even with you guys, but
before everybody goes and before TV gets all sentimental and starts crying everywhere, next week, terrible. Even though we have no show lined up at the moment because there's no fights, we're finally on our first break. Next week, we are interviewing Mr. Amin Zahabi about his matchup coming up with Jose Aldo. So make sure you come check us out 10:30 Eastern time in the evening, PM. Make sure you come hang out.
Specifically
at 10 p.m. Come hang out with us and Amin Zahabi. 10:30, we're going live.
Yes, it'll be a fantastic time. Friend of the show. He had an awesome time. Told us he loved us last time. And here he is. He didn't forget about us. So it's amazing. This is what we do this for. The people out here, the amazing guests that we have. Andrew thinking about the nicknames ahead of time and being prepared. Could it be any more beautiful? This is the impact we want to have on the community. Just showing up, having some fun, getting after it week after week. And this is what we do it for, man. I love it. So, Andrew, before we give it off to the guru to close it out, what do you got to say to the people?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Thanks to everyone who watched, and hopefully we all do well this weekend. So, thanks again.
Andrew, we will absolutely have you back. Thank you so much for your time. If you guys aren't checking out the Magic and Andrew betting show, I don't know how you spend your Friday evenings. Seriously, thank you so much all for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you're following my incredible co-host, TV Scouting MMA, over on Twitter, Instagram, Picket, Tapology, and Bet MMA. And you can follow me, the Guru Scouting MMA, over on Twitter, Instagram, Picket, Verdict, Tapology, and Bet MMA. Hey, got another belt last week in Verdict if you're following me over there. So everybody be safe. Again, next week, 10:30 p.m., interviewing Amin Zahabi. Can't wait to do that. And then we're back to ready shows and breaking down fights and making money.